Clesus Nweze, in his dissecting ruling today, set aside the judgment of the Supreme Court as a nullity. He added that the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, misled the court in arriving at judgment which removed Emeka Ihedioha from office after about 10 months. According to Justice Nweze, there is no evidence placed before the court that Governor Uzodinma satisfied the required spread to have been declared the winner of the election. He therefore told other judges on the panel that the judgment upholding Uzodinma's victory in the March 9, 2019 poll would continue to haunt the nation's electoral jurisprudence. Justice Nweze, in his minority ruling, held that the court was misled in declaring Hope Uzodinma as governor and subsequently ordered his removal from office. According to him, Uzodinma failed to give evidence of how he won the election. He held that the votes which were used to declare Uzodinma winner were in excess of the accredited votes for the election. He held that Uzodinma mischievously misled the court into unjust conclusion with the unverified votes credited to himself in the disputed 388 polling units. He said, in my intimate reading of the January 14th judgment, the meat and substance of Ihedioha's matter were lost to time frame. This court once set aside its own earlier judgments and therefore cannot use time frame to extinguish the rights of any person. This court has powers to overrule itself and can revisit any decision not in accordance with justice, he said. According to Justice Nweze, the decision of the Supreme Court in the instant matter will continue to haunt our electoral jurisprudence for a long time to come, adding that without evidence of meeting other constitutional provisions, the court misled itself into declaring Uzodinma as governor. This court has a duty of redeeming its image. It is against this background that the finality of the court cannot extinguish the rights of any person. While agreeing with Agabi that from the computation of the court in its January 14th judgment, the number of votes exceeded the total number of accredited voters by over 100,000 votes. Justice Nweze said, wonders shall never end. He said, I am one of the view that this application should succeed. I hereby make an order setting aside the decision of this court made on January 14th and that the certificate of return issued to the appellant be returned to INEC. I also make an order restoring the respondent as winner of the March 9, 2019 governorship election. Earlier, Ihedioha and the PDP had through their lawyer, Chief Kanu Agabi, SAN, urged the Apex Court to review and set aside the judgment they argued was entered in error. But his colleague, in a split decision of 6-1, refused to set aside their January 14, 2020 judgment that removed Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as governor of Imo State. Justice Olukayode Ariwoola, who read the majority, heard the application was an invitation for the Supreme Court to sit on appeal over its final judgment in violation of the Constitution. He further held that granting the request of the applicant should open the floodgate by parties to all kinds of litigation. This application considered lacking in merit and liable to be dismissed. To ask us to set aside the judgment of the court delivered on January 14, 2020 is an invitation to ask us to sit on appeal against our own judgment. We cannot do so. To set aside our judgment in this instance is to open the floodgate to other parties to review the judgment of the court. To do that is to say the least, bring the court into disrepute and ridicule. In the circumstance, the application is accordingly dismissed. Even though cost follows the event, parties are to bear their own cost. Just as Justice Ariwoola, who likened Ihedioha's application to that of the APC in the case of Bayelsa State, those who agree with his reasoning were the Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN, Justice Ibrahim Mohammed, Justice Sylvester Nguta, Kudirat Kekereekun, Amina Uge, and Mary Abba Aji. Earlier, Ihedioha and the PDP had, through their lawyer Chief Kanu Agabi, SAN urged the Apex Court to review and set aside the judgment they argued was entered in error. But responding, Uzodinma and the APC, through their lawyer, Mr. Damia Dodo, SAN, prayed the court to reaffirm its decision by dismissing the fresh application they said constituted an abuse of court process. On its part, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, which is the third respondent through its lawyer, Mr. Tamino Inowa, SAN, said it would abide by the decision of the Apex Court. Earlier in the course of the proceedings, Agabi withdrew the initial review application his client filed on February 5th and substituted it with another one dated February 17th. The previous application was accordingly struck out. Arguing his case, Agabi said his clients were only praying the Apex Court to correct a mistake that occasioned a great miscarriage of justice against them. We are not here to challenge the authority of this court. We respect the supremacy of this court and we recognize that your judgment is final. If we can go to God and pray to change his mind, so also we have come before this court to change its mind. So guys, we know that the final decision has been taken by the court, but there's something that is wrong, that is fundamentally wrong, which everybody knows. But the position of the Supreme Court, just like we've been saying, is that, they don't want to come out so that it will not seem as if they made error or trying to encourage other people to start coming for review. I think that is just the basis of not even looking into the whole thing. But from the beginning, there has been error, which this Justice Unweze is trying to tell them. And from his own submission, he's not agreeing with his colleagues. It's not even somebody from the outside. Within them, the man says what Uzodinma presented to them, it was, it's really misled the judges. But I don't know how they wouldn't have known. Were they supposed to have done investigation or what? I don't know how it plays out, because this Justice Unweze is trying to tell us that Uzodinma misled the court. It misled the court. How did he mislead the court? How were they not able to find out the error that he brought something that is not really right before them? I don't know how it really works, because from his own submission, Justice Unweze is part of the people, the panel. So now he's disagreeing with his colleague, saying that the ruling will continue to torment Nigeria's electoral jurisprudence as majority sacks Ihedioha. That means it's part of the panel, but it's not supporting what the Supreme Court has said, what the other judges has even, based their judgment on. Because like what he's saying, and the position of the court is that they don't want to seem being ridiculed, and they don't want a situation whereby everybody will not start coming. But that is not the issue. Whether they want to save their face or they want to save themselves, but what is thing is pertinent, there is an error which is not supposed to be. There is a mistake somewhere, but they don't just want to own up. They don't want to own up, and they don't want to go back to revisit or to upturn the judgments. So what are we talking about? So if it's because of their pride and now they are not doing the right thing, so how do they expect people, the masses, to believe them? Because you have done something in error and you think that you cannot reverse it. Are you God or what? In as much one of them is coming out to say, no, what you did is not right. What you did is not right. He insists that what his colleagues did is not right. But since the majority said no, what is he going to do? But he has made it clear, to the world that he's not part of this whole thing. Someone says we have only made ourselves a laughingstock in the eyes of the international community. After carefully read through the judgments, you will agree with me that there's a big error in their decision, but due to shame and ego, they decided to still hide under the wrong judgment. I'm also happy that their selves know the truth in their hearts. Of course, everybody knows the truth. They know the truth. But in as much as somebody is still coming up from them, their colleague is telling them that what you did is not the right thing. There's a big error in your judgment. Someone says, you people should fear God. Since 2023, since 2003, we have stopped practicing democracy but autocracy. But under this present CGN, it has gone from bad to worse. It behaves as if its oath of office is to the ruling party instead of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The court has brought itself to disrepute and ridicule before the world. This country is doomed. So because you don't want to sit on appeal, that is why you denied a citizen of this country justice. So your ego is now better than the rights of a citizen. You don't want to bring the court to ridicule by delivering justice, but you will bring it to disrepute by denying Ihedioha justice. May God help us out of this do of a nation. God bless you, Justice Nweze, for saying the truth. It is good as you dissociate yourself from those corrupt judges who have ridiculed themselves. This country is obviously in a serious mess. God will definitely deal with them at the right time for this injustice. It's a clear case. It's a clear case. Even with what they are trying to protect, they are even ridiculed and embarrassed themselves before the world because we can see it and they are still telling us because they cannot overturn their judgment because it is believed that the Supreme Court is the final. It's not an excuse, but what you are trying to save is still bringing you down, it's still exposing you the more. Someone says it's a pity we find ourselves in this Malu country governed by illiterate S-men. Somebody said, finally, no one is insulting Nnamdi Kanu again. When he said Nigeria is a zoo, they almost killed him, but it was slightly wrong because he meant well to me. Nigeria is animal kingdom, no rule of law, anything goes. Just like Pontius Pilate, Justice Nweze has washed his hands off the causes that will before other justices of the Supreme for the wicked judgments given in Imo. Justice Nweze won with God is majority. Somebody says no more comments because animals are better than the way our leaders behave. One very obvious thing about this Justice Nweze is that he is also Igbo like Ihedioha, and he has every good reason to be partisan, even though I'm not sure of his own particular state of origin. The question is, how come is he the only justice out of a panel of 7 that Uzodinma mischievously led the apex court? Why are 6 other justices not saying what he was saying? As he supernatural power or simply playing to the gallery? I won't be satisfied until costs are awarded against Ihedioha and PDP lawyers too, like it was for Bayelsa. That's what somebody is saying, and somebody says, you are not serious. So guys, let us hear your opinion, but what's in my opinion with what we are hearing now, with what the justice is telling us, who is he saying that everything was done in an error, but because of ego, the Supreme Court is not ready to upturn its judgments. So guys, let us hear your own opinion. Leave your comments below in the comment section.